In this video I'm going to show you how to install these LED buttons that go right in here in the Season 1 and 2 upper console. And first thing you're going to notice here is the buttons sit real close together, almost no gap, very fine gap. So what you could do is you can cut out just a big notch here. You don't have to cut out each individual button. That's a little bit harder. So what you could do is just measure the border and the height and just cut out a notch. But we'll see what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to just cut out each one because I'm a little more advanced at cutting with a Dremel. But if you're not that good at cutting with the Dremel, new to this hobby, I recommend just doing a square notch. First thing to do is get a little measuring stick and measure out the width of your buttons. Okay, it's going to be different depending on who you bought your buttons from. I soldered these up personally myself on a proto board, custom made. But if you get them from Jupiter or somebody else, it's going to be a different size. So I'm not going to tell you what the size of mine is. So just measuring a mark there and a mark there for the width. Now all you have to do is measure the height and put the height in there wherever you want these, in the middle of this little area. Mount it in the middle, make your rectangular square, and then you can cut out that whole piece and just slide it in from the back. Alright, after measuring the height of this button, and you're going to mark the height on both sides and then make your line, and then you can see that's where you can cut it out, the little rectangle box right there. Okay, that's what you can do, and it'll work just fine because, like I said, the buttons, they're close together. You won't see that there's gaps in there, and it will go right in there in place. So, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to measure from the width of each button and just try to cut out notches. Alright, put some masking tape on the border so I don't mess it up, the part. And I made sure this thing is as close as it can be. And next thing you want to do is get a Dremel, and you want this type of bit. And we're going to drill into here, and then we're just going to kind of use it like a router and go around that square. Don't ever use one of these bits right here, these cutoff bits. These, you can see it's too big. It won't get in there deep enough to cut it out, and you'll just make a mess all over the place. It's a good idea to get a vacuum too when you're doing it to suck up all the dust. It's not perfect yet because I'm still got to go over with a little bit more on the edge, but just want to give you an idea how it's done. Alright, so I cleaned it up a little more. You can see it's pretty nice. Only you got to do is the edge. It's kind of hard to get on the edge, so you want to get a little file in there. And again, to clean up the edges, you could use a file. See, this one's kind of like a triangle file. Works really good on the edges. And it's good to have an extra one of these just to kind of go in here and see if it'll fit. If it doesn't fit yet, we'll go in there and use the file on the edge. Doesn't take much. And then we'll just continue to work this button in there until it fits through nice and snug. Seems like I still got a little more to go on the width. So the width needs to go a little wider. What I like to use is a little wood stick like this and put a little 80 grit piece of sandpaper on there. And that works really good to go and sand any width that you need. And just constantly check to make sure. See, it's just about going in now. Just a little more on the edges. I'll go back to my file. And like I said, you don't have to do it this way. You could just cut out a notch. You're not even going to see that, but I'm just showing you an example because there's other places you might need to do this where it has to be exact. So it's a good example to show you how to do it. How to do it without screwing up. Alright, now I got my button in there just fine. It's real snug. So once it's snug, you know you're good. You might have to bore it out a little bit more if it's real tight. I remember one time I made a set like this and I did it so tight that it literally didn't need any screws or anything. I was just able to push it in, and it was so tight that it didn't need to be mounted with screws. So I'm done with the first one. 3 more to do. Fun stuff. Alright, got the next one marked up. Alright, there's the next hole. Now I'll go and use my file again and file that out. Last one. You get the idea, guys. See how it's coming out? This one just needs to be a little bit more. Alright, just got finished all these. Take the tape off. That just helps protect the console from getting nicked up. Okay, I want you to check that out. Let me get this in the light. Alright. Don't worry about this. This is actually, I'm modifying this to, I'm going to make the lip a little higher on that. That's why it's glassed up, but I didn't finish this. So, you can see that real nice, pretty straight. And let's try our board. Here's the board. If you get it in here and it starts hitting on an edge, you're just going to file it out a little bit more. But I already did it. It's been a good couple minutes doing that. And this thing should fit snug. If I can get it in here with one hand. There we go. And that's how I do it. Again, you could just cut this out. It'd be a lot faster. Just cutting out a big notch there. But I like the clean look of that. I don't know, like the way it looks that way. Where's my buttons? And you want to test the buttons. Sometimes they'll hit up on there. So I'm going to test it out real quick. I'm going to put them on. I'll be right back. Alright, put the caps on. And it's nice and snug there. You can see from the bottom view, side view. Looks real clean. Real professional. And nice and straight. Alright, so the buttons are in. Try to get this in the light here for you. And again, don't mind the console. It's out of mold. It's not finished. I haven't even sanded it yet. And I usually won't sand apart if I'm putting buttons in until afterwards anyway. Pretty straight. It'll be up above your head, so that'll be the view you get right there. And that's just the 4 buttons there. You still have to add the middle buttons here and some side ones, which I'll get to in another video. Okay, let's take a look on the inside. There it is on the inside. Okay. And the way you can install these, you can do epoxy on the edges. If you put a lot of epoxy on here, it'll never come out. If you want to have it removable, then I wouldn't epoxy it. Maybe put some screws in here, real small ones. Glass them into the fiberglass itself, and then you put a nut on. But I don't see me taking these out, so what I'll do is I'll epoxy them in once this thing's finished and painted. Again, I'm still modifying this lip here. I gotta shave some of this off and got some body work to do this to this before I'm actually ready for paint. So I'll pull these caps off and take this out for now. Later on, when I'm ready to have it installed, I'll just put some epoxy in there. Another way you can install these is the board is pretty long. I got like this much board hanging over. I can drill a hole right through here and go through the board and put a screw and then a flathead screw, and then I'll just glass, or not glass, but put some filler over the screw head. I'll countersink it. Do the same thing over here, and then countersink that hole, and then just fill it with some filler. And then when you flip it up over here, you'll see the screw coming out. You see I have some space here to put a hole here and a hole over here. So we'll have the screw come out just a little bit, just enough to put a nut on. And that's another way you can mount these buttons to your upper console. So that's it. That's how you install these 4 array buttons here, LED buttons. And yeah, it takes some fiddle work. You know, if you don't have a lot of patience, maybe you might want to hire somebody to do it for you, because you need a little bit of patience while cutting. Or you can do it the easy way. Just cut out a big notch like I showed you in the beginning of the video. That'd be a lot easier to install these. But again, I just like the look of it being nice and cut out each button. That's just my preference. I do the same thing on these middle buttons. When I put the middle buttons in here, the lighted buttons, I do each one like what I did here. I'll do each individual hole for the lights, and same thing with this. But that's it for this video, guys. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more how-to videos for how to build a Knight Rider car.